and IP monetization. I, on the behalf of IPTSC, extend a warm gratitude to Shri Jaipal Meel, who's the director of SKIT, Dr. Savita Chaudhary, IPR Cell Convener, Dr. Praveen Jain, IPR Cell Co-Convener, Professor Ramesh Kumar, Mrs. Rachna Meel, Dr. Rishi Vyas, Dr. Manasvi Dikshit, Mrs. Pooja Chaudhary, Dr. Neha Janu, Mr. Praveen Saraswat, Dr. Ankit Vijayvargiye, Dr. Sunita Gupta, Dr. Ravish Pandey, Dr. Abhishek Jain, Dr. Gitika Patni, who were able to manage their time and from their busy schedule and grace this webinar. On the behalf of IPTSC, one of its kind IP Olympiad, I would start the webinar by quoting Craig Venter. Intellectual property is a key for economic development. The quote stands correct as economies today are run on ideas and development. Currently, the world giants in terms of valuation and companies which are born out of ideas and work with the research. Here I have the pleasure to share that IPTSC is working in the field of IPR with the aim of improving IPR literacy and embodying young minds with the concept of monetizing their ideas and creation. Therefore, promoting growth of research and development and becoming a harbinger of economic growth in the country. Without wasting much time, I would request first to our director, Mr. Saurav Sachdeva, to please address the esteemed audience and inaugurate the webinar.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Anurith, and very good morning to all. Thank you for joining us today for the online webinar on the careers in IP and IP monetization. I would like to welcome Shri Jaipal Meel, Director, Dr. Savita Chaudhary, IPR Cell Convener, Dr. Praveen Jain, IPR Cell, and Dr. Ankit Vijayvargiye from IPR Cell. So I would like to welcome and thank Ms. Nivedita Jha, intellectual property attorney at the Bosch, for having given her consent to be the expert instructor for today's webinar. Intellectual property is going to play a major role in the bringing up the economy of the nation in the coming times. Today, corporations and firms are looking forward to hiring individuals who are IP literate. It is therefore important for you, especially as students, to have an awareness and knowledge of intellectual property as you start shaping your careers. Intellectual Property Talent Search Examination, IPTSC, aims at helping you take the first step towards creating an IP mindset. IPTSC is working aggressively to create IP awareness across India, and we are having a vision and mission to touch base 10 million students, faculty members, working profession, and startups digitally and physically by 2025 to promote IP. The initiative was launched in 2018, and since then, 4 editions of this IP Olympiad have been successfully completed, which were also supported by government bodies like AICTE, NRDC, METI, Department of Science and Technology, Punjab State Council for Science and Technology, IHUB, etc. It identifies young talent through an annual exam that is taken online, covering various questions on several aspects of IPRs, including patents, design, trademark, copyright, geographical indication, and trade secret. I'm happy to announce that we launched the 5th edition of IPTSC on 1st of September. Thanks to Ericsson for coming forward in supporting this initiative in enhancing the IB literacy in the country. We would also like to thank Creative First and Federation of Indian Chambers of Commerce for supporting as a knowledge partner. Team would take you through the details of the 5th edition and the registration process at the end of the webinar. I would like to mention that IPTC Academy signed up the MOUs with more than 25 education institutes, under which students from these institutes are encouraged to participate in the examination. Once again, I welcome all of you, and I'm sure you would take a lot back from this webinar. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, for your inaugural and introductory words, which have set the tone for the day for today's topic. Now, I would request Dr. Savita Chaudhary, IPR Cell Convener, SKIT, welcome the participants and our speaker.
Good morning to one and all present on this platform today. All of you in this webinar on careers organized by the IPR Syllabus KIT and IPTSCK. Welcome to the speaker of the webinar, Ms. Nivedita Jha, Intellectual Property Attorney, Bosch. I would like to share that Ms. Nivedita is the alumni of this KIT and it's proud moment for me to see her as an invited speaker. It's a great pleasure. Also welcome Mr. Saurabh Sachdeva, Director Development Manager. Intellectual property protection is critical. Without protection of ideas, would not reap the full benefits of their invention, then would focus less on research and development. All the multinational companies and organizations are there for keen to protect their intellectual property by developing a system supported by the legal staff ruling and owning their rights. The IPR cell of SKIT is step forward educating, spreading awareness about the intellectual property rights. From the last one, the awareness is urgently needed to create an environment where everyone should respect the IPR laws and understand well about protecting their intellectual property via patents, copyrights, and trademarks. IPTSC is the first and one of its kind IPM Olympiad for intellectual property rights in India. I hope that our faculty members and students take this opportunity and participate in this examination in India. I wish great success for this event and expect more events in future related to intellectual property rights so we can spread the word of meaningful information among the technicians and the students. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you a lot, ma'am. Moving forward, I would like to invite our speaker, Ms. Nivedita Jha. Nivedita Jha is a techno-legal professional and is working as an intellectual property attorney at Bosch. She is an alumni of SKIT, as already mentioned, and has done her master's from IIT Kharagpur. Nivedita Shah has also worked with various leading firms like Siemens Technology India, KS Partners, and many more. She would enlighten the participants on the topic of our webinar and share with them the intriguing concept of monetization of ideas, creating IPR, and careers related to IPR. Ma'am, please.
Thank you, Anurith, for the introduction, and thank you, Professor Savita ma'am, and I see Professor Praveen Jain sir, who would probably remember me as a student. Thank you for your kind and generous introduction. I cannot say I was a very meritorious student while my time at SKIT, but yeah, definitely I learned a lot of life experiences that helped me further my cause in my career. So thank you all for the introduction, and I'm very glad to see that now my college has a separate IPR cell, and there is already a growing awareness about the importance of intellectual property in our college. So before I begin, are you able to see the presentation, and am I clearly audible?
Yes, you are. You'll just have to put it on the presentation mode, Nivedita. That's it.
Okay. Yeah. Is it clear now?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So I think about me, generous introduction has already been given by my professors and the team from IPTSE. So I'll directly jump into the topic for today, that is IP monetization and careers in IP. Before we look into the careers and what are the career prospects in IP, first we will see what is intellectual property, why do we need to monetize it, how can we monetize it, and Similarly, if we monetize it, definitely there are some career prospects, and what are those in terms of intellectual property. So briefly going through the contents, as I said, first, what is an intellectual property? What are its types? What are the bundle of rights an intellectual property gives to you? What's the need for IP monetization? What is IP monetization? What is this term known as intellectual property financing? Then we will look into the career prospects in IP, and as uh, uh, Saurabh had mentioned about what is the future of IPR in India, of how and why we should pay attention to it. Before I begin, please stop me then and there whenever we want to have a discussion or whenever you have any questions you might want to ask. Okay, so shall we begin?
Yes, Nivedita, I think you can move on. And could the students put the questions on the chat box if they have? They can, yeah, I think you can also put your questions on the chat box. Or you may want to just stop Nivedita in between and get your queries
No problem.
solved. Yeah.
But prefer it as more of a to and fro
Okay,
process
sure,
rather
sure.
than
In
just
that
me
case, you may
speaking.
just stop her and get your queries resolved. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
And Nivedita, just a second. I would request the students to register through the portal as well, because that is the route through which you would be getting your certificates for the webinar. So I just request the students to do that, please. Thank you. You may begin, Nivedita. Sorry.
Thank you very much. Okay. So, beginning, what is an intellectual property? All of you have heard this term, have read about it, but how do we define an intellectual property? It is not something which is very complex. I would say it is anything that is a product of human intellect. And this product of human intellect need not be a product of human intellect of some great engineer, some great scientist, or some great artist. It can be a product of human intellect of anyone. For example, even a farmer who, through mixing of various plant varieties, comes up with a new form of plant variety, he is also entitled to the protection of this creativity of his human intellect. This, as many of you would not know, there is also a Plant Varieties Act which protects the intellect of farmers, which I would say protects a farmer's intellect. Similarly, for software engineers, your software codes, they are protected under copyright. For engineers who come up with any new inventions or innovations, you must be aware they are protected by patents. For artists, you have copyright over your paintings, or for writers, you have copyright over your literary or literary works. So anything that is a product of any human intellect is an intellectual property. It need not be from someone of some great mind like a researcher or a scientist. Even a person as simple as a farmer, if he creates a new form of seeds through experimentation and his experience, he is entitled to the product protection of his seed variety. Okay. So next, we look into what are the common types of intellectual property that you will come across. You all have heard of the term patents. There are patent wars going on between big organizations. So, what are patents granted for? So, patents are granted for new inventions. Anything that is novel. Novel means it should not be known anywhere in the world. Any product or process, for example, if you come up with a new machine, say a new type of fuel filter, so that is a new machine and that is protected by patents. If you come up with a new process, a process of manufacturing a drug, of late, there have been a lot of processes for manufacturing vaccines for the COVID-19 pandemic. So all innovations that are either methods or processes are protected by patents. Patents are granted only for a limited time duration. That is for 20 years. They cannot be extended beyond 20 years. And how do we get patent protection? We get patent protection by filing an patent application and then getting it examined from the respective patent office. By the respective patent office, I mean a patent right is jurisdictional in nature. For example, you have to get your patent granted everywhere in each of the country before you can start getting protection. If you have a if you're launching a vaccine in India, you must have the patent in India before you can stop anyone else from manufacturing that particular vaccine. You cannot say that I have a patent in US and I I therefore stop you from manufacturing the vaccine in India. You'll have to apply individually in all the countries, and that is why we say a patent right is jurisdictional in nature. Next, we come to copyright. Copyright is granted for any original, creative, or artistic forms. For example, a painting, any literary work like a poem or story or anything which you write. How do we get a copyright? It exists by default. Any original, creative, or artistic work that is put in a medium, by default, you secure a copyright over it. For example, I made this presentation. So by default, I have my copyright over this presentation. The only caveat over here is it should be put in a medium. Earlier, we used to say a tangible medium. Now we can say it should be manifested in any medium. For example, I come up with the idea of a poem. I read the poem out to myself millions of times, but I have not put it anywhere on a piece of paper or in a digital medium, say in Microsoft Word or any other medium. So unless I manifest it, I don't get my copyright. I cannot say, okay, it was in my brain. It's a product of my intellect. No, you just have to put it on a piece of paper or manifest it in any medium. The most important thing to note in copyright for people from the engineering background is your software code. A small piece of code that you write on in any programming language, that is protected by copyright. The functionality behind the software code is protected by patents, but the expression of that software code, like how you write that hello world program in C, that is protected by copyright. Again, copyright is granted for a limited duration. There are varying durations for copyright. For individual work, it is usually, it varies, the lifetime of the author plus 60 years. For other things such as movies, it is the year in which the movie was released plus 60 years, and there are varying terms for the copyright. Next, trademarks. You all are aware of trademarks. Big brands have their logos and the specific way in which their words are written. For example, for me, I use the Bosch trademark in front of my name. So the manner in which BOSCH and the color font along with this logo is written, this identifies me to a distinctive product or service. Whenever I see this logo and the manner in which this is written, I associate, okay, this product comes from this particular brand, which is Bosch. Again, trademark, we will have to apply for it, apply with the respective uh, patent or trademark office in that particular country, and then it is granted. Trademark is the only intellectual property that can exist in perpetuity, meaning I can keep renewing my trademark as long as I fulfill certain legal conditions for continuous use and all. So I can keep renewing this trademark for Bosch. Okay. Next is registered designs. This is granted for external appearance, or for example, the aesthetic appeal of this Coca-Cola bottle. This will get a design registration. But if this shape has some underlying functionality to it, then we will go for patents. So there is a slight difference between registered designs and patents, which needs to be understood on a more deeper level, but I'll leave it over here. Apart from this, you must have heard of geographical indications. Geographical indications are usually not granted to a person. It is for a region or a place. And it is usually owned by trust or government or cooperative societies. Next, you must have heard, as I told you, about plant varieties, and there's also trade secrets. Trade secrets meaning I have something which I invented or there's a process, but I do not want to file patents for it. Why? Because patents I will get only for 20 years. If I am able to keep this as as my secret or my trade secret, I can keep it for perpetuity. If I file a patent after 20 years, my rights expire. So it is so to say a business decision for firms whether they want to file patents or they want to keep it as their trade secrets. There are other forms of intellectual property also. For example, semiconductor integrated designs are protected. There is a separate legislation for that. You can get a copyright protection also for your electronic circuit, but there is a separate act which talks about protection of semiconductor integrated designs. So all in all, you will see there are a lot of intellectual property aspects which have a technical understanding to it. For example, patents, sometimes even registered designs, copyrights when I talk about software code. And then, as I mentioned, there are other forms of IPR such as semiconductor integrated design protections and all. So that is why we, as coming from a technical background, for us, it is very important to understand what are the types of IPRs and how they are protected. And does my work come under its protection or not? Any questions over here? If you have any questions, please let me know. Okay. I assume when in college we had a 8-semester project where we were supposed to do something which we have innovated or invented. I would encourage everyone, whatever they are doing, if it's really new, try to ascertain under which form of IPR can you protect your project. I think in when I was in college, it was an 8th semester. So try to think under which form of protection can you choose from one of these IP rights. Okay. So next, I will talk about the bundle of rights intellectual property gives you. Intellectual property, as the term says, is property, right? So what rights do you have on your normal property? For example, if you own a piece of land, if you own car, or if you own some other form of property, what rights do you have? You have these rights: possession, control, enjoyment, exclusion, and disposition. Meaning, you possess that, you enjoy that piece of land, you can control it, you can rent it out to a particular person, you can enjoy that piece of land, build your house on it, or do whatever you want. Then is exclusion. You can exclude others. If I have a property, I'll build a boundary wall around it and I will exclude others from using it. Then is disposition. That is, I can sell off that piece of land or whatever. So similar to property, intellectual property will also give you all these five forms of rights. That is possession, control, enjoyment, exclusion, and disposition. You invented a patented article, you can use it, you can control who uses it, you can enjoy it yourself, you can exclude others. That is one of the very basic rights in intellectual property, the most important one. That is, if I have invented something new and I patented it, I will stop others from using it until they pay me some royalty or I license it out to them. And the last is disposition. I can sell off my rights of intellectual property. Okay, so basically the bundle of rights that you have with intellectual property are same as your normal property. Today, companies are building fortunes on the bundle of rights of their intangible assets, right? What is a market economy? Today, the market economy is marked by intangibility. Like most of the assets that companies own, they are not tangible. The biggest assets which companies have today is not land ownership. It is their knowledge, it is their patents, it's their technical know-how that they own. A piece of literary, a piece of software codes that are running behind so many applications. And today that has a profound social and economic implication. Today, the richest companies of the world, for example, the Amazons and Facebook, they don't own piece of land or they don't own any physical asset. What they own is their technical know-how and their intangible asset. These intangible assets are their patents or their pieces of software codes which are running in various applications and processes. Do you have any questions over here or anything you want to discuss? Anyone? Okay, if not, then I'll proceed. Okay. So when I said there are 5 types of rights that I have with intellectual property, with all those 5 types of rights, I can make money, definitely, right? If I have a piece of land, what do? I rent it out, I make money. I sell it off, I make money. I'm enjoying it. I build a resort on it. Many people come and enjoy, I make money. So similarly, with all those 5 rights, we can transfer it on to intellectual property and we can make money of it. Today, we talk about the emergence of a knowledge economy. The economy is no more based on your tangible assets; it's based on intangible assets, which is which is the driver of productivity and economic growth. And after all, tangible property is limited. There are limited resources on earth. How much land will you own? Right? There is a limit to making wealth out of tangible property, such as land or other resources. But intangible property, such as intellectual property, that's unlimited. You can come up with 1,000 ideas, and if you want, you can patent all those 1,000 ideas and you can license it out and make money from it. Today, the biggest of firms, how they are funding their research and development. For example, these big vaccine companies, when they were against uh, waiving off their vaccine rights in light of the COVID-19 pandemic, that is because they pump millions of dollars into their R&D, and there are when they come up with something new, that needs protection. For example, today Moderna and Pfizer, they are on head-on collision. Pfizer saying that Pfizer has sued my has infringed my patent rights over how my vaccines were manufactured. So what Moderna is basically saying, see, I pumped $10 billion into my research, and I came up with this novel process of vaccine, and without my express consent, Pfizer already used it, and it also made money out of it. So that's why I am aggrieved, and I need money. Uh, can I hear? Does anyone have a question? Okay. Secondly, to grow your businesses, all of you must have heard of this fashion designer known as Ritu Kumar. She was a very, so to say, a down to earth, simple lady who's just started weaving embroidery patterns on her clothes. And then she started getting copyrights over her embroidery patterns of clothes. Recently, she was involved in a big lawsuit against Biba. You must have heard the brand, at least the girls and the women in this and the participants list must have heard of this brand. So then Biba had to pay damages to this particular fashion designer. So today, if you see her clothes, how they are priced at these online sites like Myntra and all, they're priced very highly. Why? Because she is getting money out of the copyright designs of her clothes. A simple kurta where she has put in her embroidery design, she is charging more than 4,000 rupees just for merely the copyright. So if anyone wants to manufacture, the manufacturer first has to take into account that for 4,000 rupees she is going to earn as royalty, and then for whatever the cloth material and the price is, accordingly I'll price it. So it is priced very highly. Any questions over here? Okay, if not, then I'll move on to the next slide. Okay. So we understood what is the need for IP monetization. Now, how do we monetize our IP? These are mostly the traditional forms of monetization, which we all know. I can sell my IP rights, like just like I can sell my land and take money once. or I can assign my IP rights. For example, I own a patented process of manufacturing this particular drug. I can assign it to other pharma companies. In COVID-19 pandemic, you must have seen this remdesivir vaccine. Many pharma companies were assigned the rights to manufacture it. They were assigned patent rights of the manufacturing process. And for every, say, batch of remdesivir vials that were produced, they had to pay a royalty back to the person who had actually patented it. Okay, so that is with respect to mostly patents. With respect to copyrights, and there are celebrities, if you can recognize him from his photo, he's Elvis Presley. His legal heirs, that is his daughter and all, they still earn millions from his intellectual property after his death. So just like land, if someone dies, the land ownership is passed on to his legal heir. Similarly, his intellectual property, that is his copyright over his songs or his performances or whatever, is passed on to his legal heir, that is his daughter. And his daughter is still, whomsoever he would have assigned these rights, she's still earning millions out of the IP. Similarly, many brands, for example, Pepsi earlier or Coke earlier, we used to say we don't know how they're making Pepsi or Coke so tasteful or whatever. So they signed non-disclosure agreements with many manufacturers that this is how you are going to manufacture this particular product, but you will not disclose it to anyone in the world. And that is how they're maintaining their trade secrets over, say, hundreds of years now. They could have patented it, but it's better they kept it as a trade secret. But keeping it as a trade secret is also a huge task. You have to ensure that it does not leak. So that also requires a lot of resources.
Nivedita, just for my interest,
Yes,
you said Pepsi and Coke, they have trade secrets, right?
yes,
They could have patented it.
yes.
Now, what would, I mean, how is trade secret more beneficial than having patented it? Or is there any difference as such in particular?
See, if you patent it, your rights expire after 20 years. Meaning, when I file a patent, I file a patent application wherein I will mention the process that in step 1, I'm doing this, step 2, I'm doing this, and step 3, so on. And I will put that in public domain. In return for me putting this idea in public domain, I will get a protection right that is only for 20 years. So after 20
Okay.
years, anyone will be able to execute those method steps, those 5 6 method steps, whatever they are, and they can make this product, and I will not be able to sue them or ask them for money or anything like that. But if I keep it as a trade secret, I don't have to reveal those 5 6 method steps. It is my trade secret and I can keep it forever. And
Okay.
secondly, when I file a patent, I will have to pay costs. There are examination costs, there are filing costs, and then there are maintenance costs. For trade secret, there is no such cost, but there are hidden, so to say, costs for ensuring that no one leaks it in the world.
Okay. Right.
Does that
Got it.
answer your
It
question?
clarified it. Yes. Thank you.
Okay. Similarly, what brands also do is you must have heard of these franchisees. For example, McDonald's is a franchisee, Pizza Hut is a franchisee. What they do is they put patents over their boxes. Yeah, as simple as something such as their cups, their boxes, their ovens, and they make everyone use that oven because we say, okay, wow, it comes from Pizza Hut, so I'll use this oven only. So this is how you make brand earn money out of your intellectual property. So this is the traditional ways, that is franchising, selling, assigning, earning royalties, and through non-disclosure agreements. Now I will move on to something that is upcoming. Okay, before I move on to that, we will look into the most something that is most important from the perspective of academic institutes. That is how IP monetization matters to academic institutes? What is the academic perspective? Okay, so all the famous universities of the world, they have something known as their technology transfer office. For example, IIT Delhi has a foundation for innovation and technology transfer. What it does is basically if someone in IIT Delhi has come up with a new idea, it incubates that idea. When I say of incubation, that is, it will help it with all the financial resources and all until it is good enough to be commercialized or marketed. So when it's good enough to be commercialized, it is then passed on to a prospective company. You would be amazed to know that IIT Delhi actually owns over 30 technologies which have been commercialized and licensed out to huge big corporations. This number is still very less when you compare it to other famous universities of the world. For example, if all of you must have played this game, Grand Theft Auto, GTA. I played it a lot when I was a teenager or so. So, do you know where this game comes from? The basic software behind this game actually originated in Oxford University amongst a few Oxford University researchers. So, Oxford University has this special purpose vehicle, which is known as the Oxford University Innovation, which it manages more than 300 patent families and has more than 450 license agreements. So what it did, it came up with this software behind this Rockstar Games Grand Theft Auto, and then it licensed it out to Rockstar Games. So basically, this game that includes computer animation and the person lives in a virtual world and all this. This idea was all from Oxford University. They secured intellectual property rights over it, and then they licensed it out to Rockstar Games when they release Grand Theft Auto, that is GTA. So this is what universities are doing. This is known as university spin-offs, something that is incubated within a university and it is a spin-off. Another very popular spin-off over which was in news these days was this Janssen. Janssen is the vaccine manufacturing arm of Johnson and Johnson. You would be amazed to know that it was basically a spin-off that was from some university in Netherlands. If I'm not wrong, a Leiden University in Netherlands. They had come up with the vaccine manufacturing process in 1990s for some other disease those days. And then they incubated it, and then Johnson and Johnson acquired it, and it became Janssen. Today, Janssen is manufacturing vaccines for COVID-19. Similarly, this is usually the way in which IP is monetized that comes out of institutes. For this, it is very important that institutes should have a strong IPR policy. The IPR policy should also talk about the ownership of IP. Like if it comes from a student, who owns the IP, who is going to maintain the IP, who is going to pay the cost for prosecution and examination of this IP. So all these things are must for an academic institute. They should have a proper IPR policy for it. All the IITs, they have an IPR policy. They have an IPR cell, which takes care of all the research activities that is going on in the respective institute. Any questions over here? And also, yeah, MHRD, which has come up with this NIRF ranks. It now takes into account the number of patents that were filed by that university and number of patents that were granted, and more important, commercialized. And that is the reason, one of the biggest reasons you will see a lot of these IITs feature in the top 10 institutes in India. Earlier, there used to be research papers, used to be one parameter, but not only research papers now. Now MHRD is looking into patent statistics as well. Any questions over here?
Yeah, I think one of them has a query. As you mentioned that they could commercialize their innovation or idea, right? Through the university.
Right.
Yes, in that case, who actually gets the right? Is it in the name of the person who has done it, or is it through the to the university?
The person who has come up with the idea, he or she will definitely remain the lifelong inventor. But usually, what universities do, they should have their own IPR policy. For example, in all IITs, you by default have to assign your IP rights to the university. Since you are using, say, equipments or other hardware of the university to come up with that rights, the university policy usually says that you assign your IP rights to the university. Now university will file the patent for it. They will take care of the filing costs, the examination costs, and everything, and they'll help you secure a intellectual property over it. But there are also some terms of agreement which talk about, in case it is commercialized, how much of the royalty comes to you and how much goes to the university. So this is for a
Okay.
university to frame its own IPR policy. However, it is also always recommended that the university transfers the IP rights to itself, because for an individual, transacting the IP is difficult. They have to go contact law firms and lawyers who will help them get it registered. So it's always better a university does them, because there are also various incentives in terms of less filing costs and speeding up the examination time and these things.
Okay. Thank you. I hope that query is resolved. Thank you.
Okay, I also see a question in the chat box which says, how is a trade secret registered in India? A trade secret, there is no particular separate legislation for a trade secret in India. There are legislations in EU and US. In India, trade secret is governed by contracts. Basically, when you are going to join a company or a new firm, you will sign a non-disclosure agreement where they will have a clause which says any confidential information which is of high value, you cannot reveal it to the outside world, even when you leave the company. So in India, it is not registered. It is governed by contracts. In US, there is a separate legislation for trade secrets, and similarly, there is in Europe also. Does that answer your question? Okay. I hope so. And now I'll move on to the next slide. That is, we'll discuss non-traditional forms of intellectual property monetization, which is IP financing. This is an emerging and very interesting topic that is coming up. Today, to secure loans or create revenue, what people are doing is, for example, again, I'll bring in the analogy of a land. If you own a land, you can mortgage it to get some money, right? You can use it as a collateral. If you have a vehicle, you can use it as a collateral to get some loans. Similarly, intellectual property is your property. You can use it as a collateral to get some money or create revenue. In India, this thing is in a very nascent stage. There are RBI regulations that allow intellectual property to be mortgaged. But first of all, your intellectual property should have some valuation. There should be a value associated with your intellectual property before a bank agrees to mortgage it. Since this whole process is in a very nascent stage in India, but surely with the kind of IP awareness, this is definitely going to be a big thing in future. Because we already see, in terms of trademarks, we already see startups and SMEs using it as a means to create revenue or create funding for their startups. All these startups such as Zomato, or what we know now, we call other things as unicorns today. What they do is they pledge their trademarks to certain entities. For example, if I own the Zomato, I am Zomato and I own the Zomato trademark, I need some funding. So I'll pledge this trademark to RBI or someone, not RBI, say some other private or other banks. And I'll say, my trademark has this value. This valuation is again assigned by some professionals, which assign a value to your trademark. And in return for this, I need this much money. So this is known as IP financing. In US, already companies like General Motors, Alcatel, Lucent, and they are raising funds through patent financing. And these banks like JP Morgan Chase and Bank of America are top financing entities, which are accepting intellectual property as mortgage, as collateral, as security. Okay, any questions over here? Another example for creating revenue from trademarks you would see is of movies. These Marvel movies that come up, all their trademarks are already assigned or already pledged to certain entities. For example, you must be buying a lot of these t-shirts that bear Marvel trademarks. A lot of them might not be registered, might not be authentic manufacturers, but those who have the rights to this trademark, they manufacture it, and whatever money is earned, they give it back to these movie directors and all. And nowadays, it's a well-known thing that physical assets, they account for less than 5% of net worth of big companies such as Amazon, Apple, Microsoft. And you would be amazed to know that many of their working patents, when I say working patents, patents that are actually used and commercialized, are pledged as stock in markets of USA. So this is the future of IP monetization, how IP will be monetized in future. These are the figure over here that talks about IP backed loan. This is a simple thing. I just pledge it as a collateral, like for like I do for my land. The second is IP backed security. I use it as a security. I create a special purpose vehicle. There's an investor. This is slightly complicated in terms of financing. But basic thing you can remember is just like your land, just like your vehicle, IP can be used as a collateral. And it's not that we don't have provisions for that in India. The law in India already says that collateral can be tangible as well as intangible assets. People are already using trademarks, but they do not have much awareness now as to patents and the other forms of IP. Any question over here? Okay, if there are no further questions, we'll move ahead. Now, since that I've spoken of, there are so many emerging things that are going to come in India, intellectual property based financing. So you must have realized I am going towards the career prospects of IP in India. Intellectual property is one diverse field that is not limited to people from science or from law or from commerce. It's an intersection of various fields, not only these three. You can count in management also. There is a separate field of IP that is called as IP management. So, what do people coming from these diverse fields, why do we need their skill sets? As I told you, I have a lot of intellectual property, but someone has to audit it, someone has to value it. So, there are people from commerce who do IP valuation and IP audit. I can say I filed 5,000 patents, but what is the value of those 5,000 patents? When are they going to be commercialized? So there are these are accounting firms like KPMG and Deloitte. They do IP valuation for big firms. They value your IP, that your IP is valued at these many $1 billion or whatever. What they also do is like just like your finance audit, there is also an IP audit. When I say IP valuation, I should have maintained my IP. Meaning, if I file patent applications, someone has to come and check whether they are properly maintained, the patent fees is paid, whether I have the ownership, or I already assigned it to someone long back ago and I'm saying, no, no, I'm still the owner of this patent. So for this, there are IP audits conducted by professionals. In the field of science, as you would know, there are patent professionals, which are also technology experts for a particular domain. They keep on searching for any new technology that's coming up. Patent analytics searches for, there are a lot of searches which patent analytics requires. That is whether this idea is patentable, it is already known or not, whether the product that you're proposing, does it have all patents for from our competitors. And I am doing a research in a particular area. I need to know what patents are filed in this area. So this is called white space analysis and all these things. All these things are performed by obviously technical professionals who need to have knowledge of that domain. If I'm doing a patent search, I need to have some knowledge uh, about patents in, say, AI and ML, artificial intelligence, machine learning. I need to understand that. So there are science professions needed for that. And then obviously, since it is a form of, we call it as intellectual property right, lawyers will come in. There'll be IP attorneys who will help you enforce this right, who will help you, for example, transact all the patent, so all the IP rights. And then there is IPR policy and advocacy. Like there was a big debate whether patents should be waived off on vaccines or not. So somewhere a delicate balance between public interest and interest of the companies has to be ensured. So policy and advocacy comes in over there. Then there are specific fields that require expertise from both these things. For example, IP due diligence. When I'm merging with a new company, I need to do my due diligence. What is the, uh, how many patents do I own? What is the value of that? All those things. Before a company acquires, it will hire some people who have some expertise in law and commerce and tell, see, I'm going to acquire that startup. You tell me you do the IP due diligence for that particular startup. Then IP strategy. A person who has knowledge of that technology and is also aware of how much money the research and everything is going to cost. So we need his expertise also in the field of intellectual property. Then most prominently, there are patent agents, people who have both expertise in law. There is an examination that you have to, expertise in science. Science is compulsory if you want to qualify a patent agent exam. And then you must be well versed with the patent laws of India. So these are diverse and cross, so to say, intersecting expertise that we require from people from various backgrounds. And then we have IP managers that come from the field of management. How should I manage my intellectual property? I should take into account then all these things. So it is one career prospect that is not limited to just science or law or just commerce. It has this intersecting uh, expertise that is needed. Okay, so these are the skills that I should have. What are the career prospects? As we already spoke, there are patent engineers, professionals, and agents. They're associated with various engineering, science, medicine fields. All the big research and development every company that has an R&D has an IP or department. R&D and IP, they go hand in hand. For example, I'll tell you my experience. I work with the R&D in Bosch. I have to contact them all the time. I have to see what projects they are working on. If that is new, I have to ensure how we should file a patent application for it. And then there are people having technical expertise who will say, okay, this is the area or technology which you're working on. It has not been touched upon by our competitors. This is the area you need to focus on. Try developing something in this area. This is all that goes on in big firms and corporations. Then there are trademark agents and facilitators. Trademark agents, anyone is welcome. You don't need to have a specific degree in science like you need in patent to become a patent agent. For trademark agent, there is an exam that is conducted. You just need to qualify that exam, and anyone is welcome in this domain. And then you would see there are in-house counsels and IP attorneys. For example, people like us who are having a legal background, we advise our R&D teams as to how to proceed with the protection of a particular form of IP. So you can choose which type of career prospect you want. If you want, it's not that you need law and science both. It is always helpful if you have law and science both. But even with science, you can become domain experts, patent analytic experts. So these are the various prospects of intellectual career prospects of intellectual property. I expect if people have any questions, please put them forward over here. No questions? Okay. Then we are moving towards the almost the end of our presentation. That is, we talk about the future of IP in India. In terms of IP, we were not very aware until say 20 years ago. Intellectual property rights was not much talked about in India unless two things happened. That is what happened in 1990s and 2000 is somewhere in US, two people tried to patent turmeric healing properties. In India, through our traditional knowledge, that is knowledge we have acquired through generations from our ancestors and their ancestors and so on, we know that turmeric has healing properties, right? But someone in US tried to patent this process. And that is when the Indian government woke up. We realized, oh, this is something that our people have known since ages and generation. If you patent it, we will lose our if we will lose many people will lose their rights to do this so easily, right? So then we IP awareness was generated. There was a similar case of using neem as ingredient in toothpaste. This is something we know as kids. People coming from we have been using this since times immemorial, I would say. So that is when we created a traditional knowledge protection. IIT Kharagpur came up with a traditional knowledge digital library. That is, we documented traditional knowledge from various tribes, from various communities across India, and we documented it in a proper format, saying, see, this is already available, and this is known by our country, it's our culture and it's our heritage since generations. Don't try and patent this. And that is when we realized how important intellectual property is. But there is also a very delicate balance that needs to be maintained between national interest and IPR protection. I would not say national interest, I would rather say public interest. If I start patenting each and everything, the cost of each and everything grows, and the affordability of it for the public becomes slightly difficult. So that is why we have provisions in our legislation that that if the government wants, it can take away your patent rights in case of a medical emergency, in public emergency such as the COVID-19 pandemic. It can ask all the medical equipments or drugs which have patents. No patent right will be enforced. Anyone can manufacture it. And this is what India successfully argued at the WTO. That is the World Trade Organization. After that, we have growing IP protect awareness, and now India is one of the world leaders in startup activity. As we keep on talking about, we have one. I think we are among top 5 in the world when it comes to startups. So we have a lot of incentives for startups and IP processes. If we, as say Bosch as a big organization, files a patent application, it costs me somewhere around 20,000 rupees. But if a startup wants to file a patent application, it can do it as minimum as 4,000 rupees. So these are the kind of incentives that have been started by the government to incentivize intellectual property awareness among startups, because startups can use it as a means to create funding, as I said, through IP financing and other means. And of late, 6 years ago, that is in 2016, we came up with national IPR policy for the first time. So that basically tells us how serious we are about IPR. The policy aims to push IPRs as a marketable financial asset, promote innovation, entrepreneurship, but it also ensures public interest. There is a special thrust on enforcement of IP through commercialization and various incentives. And there is a Department of Industrial Policy and Promotion, which is now the nodal agency for all IPR issues. Okay, and there is a special thrust to expedite the timelines. That is, from filing to grant of patent application should take less time. And there is incentives for, say, women inventors. There are incentives for innovations related to climate change, related to other issues that are plaguing the world today. So our IP policy has now become very proactive. And as the scheme says, let's move towards a creative India, innovative India, Rachnatmak Bharat, Abhinav Bharat. So with this, I will end my presentation. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me, and you can ask me now also. I think we have some time. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, ma'am. Your words have cleared our doubts, and the most wonderful part was that how simply and easily you have put down the whole concept, enabling us to give the insight on this complex matter. Thanks a lot. We would love to open the house for discussion and questions and the feedbacks from our participants.
Good morning, Nivedita. I have a question. Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible. Can you
Yeah.
just tell me your name and
Yeah, this is Rishi Vas. I just wanted to ask
Hello, sir.
about the registration of trade secrets in India.
Okay.
So how is it done?
Yeah.
What is the process? And if one student wants to get it done, do they need to have their company registered first or what?
I think I took up this question from the chat box. Trade secrets are not registered. I mean, they cannot be registered with any government entity in India. We do not have a separate legislation which registered someone's trade secrets. You have to protect it through contracts. In US and EU, you have separate legislations for trade secrets, where trade secrets are also registered like patents and trademarks and these things. India, we do not have a legislation, so you have to rely on your contractual terms only. Meaning, when you have come up with something and you want someone else to manufacture it, you better have a very strong contract and very strong clause in contract that prohibits the third party or the other party from revealing any terms of that trade secret.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, thank you so much. And I would request everyone to just turn on their mics once.
Just a
Sorry,
second,
camera.
Anurit. Sorry to interject.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nivedita, I'm sure participants here have gained a lot from your talk, and we really would like to thank you for being with us. Just in case some participant comes up with a question later on, I hope it is okay to get it resolved, right?
Sure.
We may just, yeah. And or you may just want to share the presentation, but I think that is not possible. That's okay with us. So
No, I'll share the presentation, no problem.
Yeah, it'll remain with us just in case somebody wants to solve a query or something, right? And thanks once again for being with us, having spared your time for us. It was a great pleasure to hear you talk on this topic. Thank you. Saurabh?
Yeah, thank you so much, Nivedita. It was a really wonderful session, and I'm sure students all have gained a lot of knowledge, especially for IP, which you talked about the copyright, trademark, patent, GI, and all. So I think now we have to at least listen from the student. I think if they have some more queries,
Yeah,
we
yeah,
need
and I
to
would like to
keep this
mention that,
platform engaged. That should
yeah,
not
Nivedita being a
communication.
SKIT alumni,
Correct, correct.
She is a role model. She should be a role model for all the students who are participating here.
Absolutely,
Right.
without any doubt.
She is a role model and looking forward for further cooperation from her side. Because she
Sure, ma'am, sure.
Yeah.
Once again, I would like to.
Any student wants to share any feedback? Yes or no?
They're all sorted, I guess.
Okay,
Great then.
Thank you.
I
Thank you,
think
Nivedita, for your time and guidance.
Nivedita, you may either choose to continue with us. We are just running through our IPTSC 5th edition presentation, or you may leave if time isn't permitting.
Sure, I'll stay for a couple of more minutes if anything comes up. And
Yeah.
thank you, everyone. Thank you, Savita ma'am. I see some familiar professors over here. I see, though I could see Praveen Jain sir. I can see Manisha Kaushik ma'am. And thank you all. It was
Thank
a
you,
great
Nivedita.
pleasure coming back to the institute many years later. And thank you, IPTSC, for giving me this opportunity. I'm indebted to you. And all the best for your future endeavors. Thank you. Bye, everyone. Have a nice day.
Thanks. Thank you.
Ma'am, I would
Yeah,
request
sure.
everyone to just turn on their cameras so we can have a group picture of this webinar once.
I think others can also switch on their videos, camera. Okay, that's okay.
Thank you, everyone. So let's move forward. So I would like to share a small presentation on our 5th edition of IPTSC, which is one of its kind of IP Olympiad. And it is being conducted in the month of November. So these are the content of our presentation. IPTSC was launched in July 2018. It is an initiative of Epethicon, which is having a lot of initiatives going on, and IPTSC is one of them. It is a first of its kind nationwide IP Olympiad. We have been awarded by World Intellectual Forum as an appreciation towards the contribution in IP education. We have conducted 4 successful editions, and the 5th edition has been launched on 1st of September 2022. Next slide, Utkarsh. So this is our honorary advisor panel. We have a lot of dignitaries from various corporates. Next, Utkarsh. We have also received support from various industry corporates, and government support has been also received. So our industry partner is Ericsson, and our knowledge partner is Creative First. Our past editions have received support from MSME, NRDC, iHub, Inspire, AICTE, and many others. I would like to inform you all that our 5th edition has received the support from AICTE, NRDC, and MITI. The achievements of our 4th edition are as follow. We have created a unique dashboard which gives access to the learning material for each exam aspirant. 50 plus webinars were organized. 50 plus awardees were facilitated with the awards, trophies, and certificates. Internships have been facilitated to the winners basis on the selection through the interviews. We have also launched e-copyright handbook that is made freely available to all the exam participants. So these are our chief guest and guest of honors. In the first and second edition, Shri Suresh Prabhu was our chief guest. In the third edition, Shri Anil Sahasrabuddhe was our chief guest. In the fourth edition, Honorable Justice Pratibha M. Singh, Judge, High Court of Delhi, and Professor Unnat Pandit, Control General of Patent, Design and Trademarks, was our guest of honor. So let's move on to the details of the fifth edition. So the unique features in this fifth edition are, we have created a learning management system which will track the reading performance of the students. So the basic aim of this exam is not just that students should, participants should register and give this exam, but they should have an in-depth knowledge of IP. We have also created an app which will help them easily access the dashboard. Provisions of e-learning material are given through the unique dashboard. AI picked questionnaires, which is very domain specific. So basically the student or a participant with having a architecture background will have different question as compared to one who is having a background of maybe MBBS. So, and there is a free handbook on the copyright case studies available to all the participants. We have given different time slots for the mock test and the final tests so that there is an ease to all the participants. They can choose the time whenever when they want to give the exam. Next slide, Utkarsh. So this is the process and timeline for our fifth edition. Our registrations have started from 1st of September and they're going to end on 15th of October. The mock test is going to happen from 30th of October to 5th of November. Final examination will be holding on 15th of November to 20th of November. As I told you earlier, we will be giving different time slots. So the participants are not just the students. So there are working professionals also, startups and the faculty. So there is an ease of time at which they want to give this exam. Award ceremony will be held in the second week of December, which is 13th or the 14th of December. Next. So the eligibility for this exam is students, faculty members, working professionals and startups. So this time we are not just focusing on the students and the institution, but colleges, but we are also focusing on working professionals and startup. For the main reason is that we want to spread the awareness about IP. So the fees for this for students is 499 and 999. So we have basically two packs. One is for 499 and the other pack is for 1510. But we are giving at a discount of we are giving it at a discount and the price is 999. So this 999 combo is our premium version and it has a advanced reading material. And as you can see, for the faculty also we have kept the same price of 499 and 999. Next slide, Utkarsh. The benefits and the rewards from this exam. So they will be able to as from the point of student, they will be able to gain knowledge and awareness of IP. Certificates and prize money will be given to the top winners. Internship opportunities for the top performers basis the selection process. Uh, then they will be also able to know how to reap the monetary benefits of their creations and the innovation, a competitive advantage in their career shaping. So in terms of university, it will give an opportunity to provide career-oriented educational program. The best university award is given on the basis of maximum student participation. A platform to connect with the government bodies and corporates is given through this. Seminars for students as well as faculty is being conducted, which aims in enhancing the IP awareness, and it will also help in overall recognition and the brand building, as we are helping and assisting the technical universities in attaining the NIRF ranking and NAC accreditation. Next. So this is our award category for the 5th edition. So we have kept a prize money for the different positions. So there are 3 ranks for the university student. So AIR 1 will get 50,000 rupees. AIR 2 will get 25,000 rupees. AIR 3 will get 10,000 of rupees, and we have kept a prize money for the faculty as well. So AIR 1 will get 50,000 rupees. So there is an award for the best university, as I told you earlier. It is on the basis of maximum participation of students. So there is AIR 1, AIR 2, and AIR 3. We have also kept awards for the youth leaders. So it is on the region basis. So North youth leader, South youth leader, East and West. So, and there are some domain specific awards also, and impeccable contribution towards the field of IP, that is also there. Next, Utkarsh. So the exam guidelines for this particular edition is that 60 minutes for the university students, and there will be 60 questions. There is no negative marking. Candidates scoring 40% or above will receive pass certificate. The rank holder is chosen on the basis of accuracy of answers and the total time taken to complete the exam. So suppose two participants are scoring same number of same answers actually. So the lesser the time taken will be the deciding factor who is going to win. Next. Thank you so much. Now I would request Utkarsh to just explain the registration process to us. Before we handle all the queries.
Hi everyone, am I audible?
Yes, you are, Utkarsh.
Yeah, just a second. Okay, I'm sharing the video of the registration process first. Then we will take you with the 4th edition award ceremony, a quick highlight of that. Okay, yeah. Hi, is my screen visible?
Yes, Utkarsh.
Okay. So first we just log in. IPT3 doesn't go with the procedure of passwords and email IDs. We just have a simple number and the OTP format. The student or the any registrant just enters the number. If they are the first time registrant, it will lead them to the sign up page. And if they have already registered, it will just directly lead them to the dashboard. Fill up the details, that is the name, email, profession, whether you are a faculty, working professional, or in your case, university students. Then after that is the organization. If, for example, your organization is not there in the selective options, just select others and then you can write up the university name. Yes, in this part you have to select the domain you are registering for the exam. We have multiple domains as referred also in the previous presentation, and you have to select one of them. Again, an OTP will be sent to your phone number, which you have to verify. Once you verify the OTP, you will be directly redirected to the dashboard. This is the dashboard of IPDST e-learning platform. Here you will be given two packs to be chosen. One is the basic pack, which is a 499, and the premium pack, which is a 999. The payment process is very easy, and we have multiple options, whether it's UPI, whether it's card, whether it's like wallets, anything will work. Okay, so this was the individual registration, and if the university wishes to register the students through a bulk registration, that is also very easy. Again, we have to go to the same e-learning platform. On the top right, there will you get a button of bulk registration. Once you click there, they will ask the email. It can be a personal email of the person registering for all, or it can be the university email. Once you enter the email, OTP again will be sent to the email ID. Verify the OTP. After that, just select who you are. You're a school, university, organization, or a startup. Enter the details of the spokesperson from the university. Okay, so now is here, this is the data upload part for the students. There's a sample data option on the first for you to see how the data is need to be entered in the Excel file, and then just upload the Excel file back to the portal. Okay, this is the format in which the data has to be uploaded by the university. This is also available on the e-learning platform. The student's name, phone, age, email, name of the institute, school, or whatever it is, principal's name, email of principal, and contact number. After that, once you upload it back to the database, okay, here it will show you the records first, the number of records, and the see, like here it is written the total entries are 7. Okay, so it will show you 7 entries and to check the data first before proceeding to the payment stage. Here you can see the GST, and now they have two options, whether they want a bulk invoice in the name of university or school, or they just want an individual invoice for each student. Again, the same payment procedure with different payment option, whether it's UPI, whether it's Paytm, whether it's card or net banking. That is also very easy. And the receipt will be sent directly to the registered email. Okay. We have one more thing to show you, that is a fourth edition award ceremony highlights. We will be sharing in a minute.
Because you are going to share some a short.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah,
I
just a
think
second. We are sharing.
initially, I think you can also give some background. What exactly you're going to show?
Okay, we are going to show you now the like a very short video of a whole combined fourth edition awards that Anuri told you about. That the Delhi High Court Judge Pratibha M. Singh ma'am was there as the chief guest, and Dr. Unnat Pandit. So the awards were like it was a huge ceremony at FICCI office, the Federation of Commerce at Tansen Marg in Delhi. Okay, share. Okay. Okay, so thank you everyone. This was all from my side, and best of luck.
Thank you so much, Utkarsh. And any queries regarding the presentation or the exam, anything? Okay, thank you so much. We hope the participants will participate in the exam and achieve great ranking in the award. And thank you so much. Saurabh sir, anything from your side?
Thank you, Anurith, and thanks to the entire team of Skit Jaipur and all these students. Uh, but I will be more interested, I think, if any student wants to share his feedback, that will be very much important. Is there any student in this group?
No, sir. Only faculty is available.
Okay, only the faculty.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much. Anything from your side, Praveen ji?
Thank you, Saurabh sir. It was such a good experience to have with you all. And if students find any difficulty with registration or anything like that, we will let you know. So we will be in touch with you. Hopefully,
And I can't hear you. I think seems some network issue.
hello.
Yes,
Am I
ma'am.
audible?
Yes, ma'am.
So I just wanted to know that if there is any problem regarding registration or anything else, then, uh, uh, we will, be in touch with you people. Hopefully, we will have do another session also. Ankit sir?
Maybe your voice is not clear, maybe some technical issue.
Correct.
So, sir, thank you so much. If there will be any issue, then we will contact. Uh, thank you so much. And I think you will provide some brochure also. So we will share with the students.
Sure, thanks. And looking forward, I'm sure this time the skit Jaipur is going to be the looking forward to see as a best university, especially for this 5th edition of IPTSC.
So we will try to do,
Yes.
do our best.
We hope for
Sure.
the same.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Saurabh.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.